What's going on, everybody? It's Jamie.
And John and Marley today.
And welcome to the Eh-To-Zed Reseller podcast. Yeah, we seem to always have some guests these days when, whether it's having other YouTubers on or the random animal just popping up. Marley's been on a few times.
Yeah, sometimes, kitties they hear a voice and they're like, wait a second, is this person talking to me? Let me get involved.
Yeah.
So she's a little crybaby. She'll probably leave in a couple minutes and go cry in a corner somewhere. But for now, she's on the podcast.
Yeah. I know my mom's cat, Blue, who we've been watching all summer, he is very similar. He hears voices and cries. Our cat, Zero, the white cat that maybe sometimes you see in videos, she is just food driven. That's it.
Okay.
He doesn't care about you. You're just like you're a can opener, right? That's pretty much how she sees you.
Yeah. So she's a dog, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's this week been for you?
Pretty good. I mean, I just this morning kind of filmed a little bit of a recap video about recent sales and stuff. And I think it's safe to say, I know I've kind of talked about it already, but it's safe to say that we kind of turned the corner on the slowdown. Things have kind of picked back up a little bit. And, this last week again is kind of on par and on pace with where I would expect to be or hope to be. So yeah, no, it's been pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. We had an extended long weekend. So I was trying to juggle still working while we were away just on my computer and stuff like that. But good. Yeah. Sales were good. I had some stuff sell right away. I did have a really weird case open last night on Poshmark, which I don't get a lot of cases on Poshmark, to be honest. And this is a first for me. You can let me know if you ever had something this ridiculous. Okay. So it was a pair of sandals and the brand is called Fit Flop. And the person said, these are very uncomfortable and they're not as described because the one sandal is 5 millimeters shorter than the other one. So that was the first thing you read, right? And I'm like, okay. And then there's pictures attached. Well, this person actually took a level, and I'll insert the pictures now because they're so weird, and showed the bubble off and then the sandals just slightly off. And I didn't even know what to say. I just said, this is the oddest return I've ever had brought to my attention. I'm just going to leave this up to Poshmark because honestly, on Poshmark, you don't have a choice. I can't say, yeah, you're right, refund. I could say something like that where maybe when the Poshmark support person read that, they could say, oh yeah, they agree. We'll just close the case. They don't really want to do that anyway because they're going to be on the hook for the shipping and they just rather the person keep it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody break out a level and complain about 5 millimeters. Now, honestly, they probably aren't comfortable for some reason. I either missed that or they're trying to come up with this really weird scheme to get them returned. Just very bizarre.
5 millimeters. I mean, just to put that into perspective for anybody who's watching who deals in inches, for imperial measurements, like there are 25.4 millimeters in an inch. So we're talking a fifth of an inch. I mean, we're talking like the tiniest little sliver of a difference here.
Yeah.
You would never visually notice that. There's no way you would ever notice that or even feel that difference, I'm sure, unless you were trying to wear something that needed to be very tight. Like if you're wearing like ballet shoes or something that you really need that tight fit, you need that on your toe or something. Okay. But wow, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. I was just like, I was literally, I got the notification on my phone. And then before I went to bed, I was just like, oh, I'm going to go see what that actually was. And I mean, it's not funny, I guess, because the person isn't happy about the thing. But I was standing in my kitchen laughing, and I got my wife to come over. I'm like, I've never seen something so ridiculous in my life. There's an actual level.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess whatever you got to do.
I mean, I guess I guess it's a valid concern if they, if they're showing that and they can measure it. It seems like such a wow, it seems like a stretch,
It does. I mean, maybe they're worried they're going to fall over. It's like kind of, tip off the edge.
Maybe.
I don't know.
You said notification on your phone. That reminds me, I'm just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Yep.
So that I don't get interrupted with any pesky other apps that end up kicking me off of this StreamYard. So there we go.
Yeah, I just did that as well. I also started. So I'm sure you don't have this problem, but I switch between Posh Canada and Posh US on the app quite often. And just recently, it started giving me. It started wanting verification codes. It's like, hey, we noticed a weird login, and now on my phone, I've done it so many times while I was away, because a lot of times I'll work from my computer, but when I was away, I was trying to do some stuff on my phone. Now it's locked my Poshmark Canada out on my phone, and it won't even send the verification code. Part of the problem too, I think, is I'm running a VPN a lot of times when I'm running stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if they don't like that. So hard to say, but I don't know. I've noticed this problem recently when they started. I don't know if they're related or not, but I keep getting offers for like they want you to do like a free promoted closet. Have you got some of those?
Oh yeah, I've seen that and I've ignored it. I just don't want to.
Yeah, me neither. But that's almost the same timeline as now where I'm having problems signing in and out, and it's giving me issues. I'm wondering if they've done some sort of update to their back end or something that's just created something that's different.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. Poshmark, I find it's weird. I've seen some different stuff happening on that app recently. And while I use I've got a couple of old phones that I have like specific purposes for. So sometimes I'm doing stuff on I got 3 different iPhones I'm doing stuff on. But I've noticed that even when I'm opening up the app, and eBay is the same way. I'm opening up the app on one specific phone. It could look different, almost like it's a different version that's loading, sometimes like multiple times a day, and things are showing up looking like this is what it looked like before an update or something like that. And it seems like eBay and Poshmark are both doing that. So I don't know if it's something that's specific maybe to maybe my older phones are somehow tapping into an older version, even though they've been updated. I don't know, but it's been really weird and wonky lately. But on a positive note, hey, here's something that I'm going to segue into. I noticed recently, let me know if you've seen this. If you've ended up on your own closet, your own listing somehow, have you ever seen the banner on the top that says, this posher has been on a listing streak, get discounted shipping for $8.99 for a limited time, or something like that?
No, but I think I did see that they were bringing that back, the listing streak thing or something.
Okay. I'd never heard of that. I had no idea what that was. I'll be honest with you. I don't pay any attention to Poshmark at all. That's what I got Posh Sidekick for, right? Yeah. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So the other day I was in there, someone bought something from me, and they had to cancel because they used the wrong address. They were like, oh crap, I used the wrong account. It's got my old address on it. Can we cancel? Blah, blah, blah. When I relisted a copy for that, and then tagged their other account with the correct address in it, I forgot to put it back to the original price. So it had relisted to the 10% off price instead of what it originally was. But then they just immediately bought it anyway, instead of me having to go fix it. And I was like, oh, well, I could have done this or that. And they're like, oh no, it's okay. I actually got $8.99 shipping anyway. I was like, say what? So it must have been because it was triggering this listing thing, right? And I never knew anything about it. So the cool thing is I haven't manually listed anything to Poshmark in probably 2 weeks. So this is Posh Sidekick just relisting my old stuff. Probably, I think I have it set to probably every 60 days relist by oldest. Yeah. And so I mean, there's a bonus and a perk I didn't even know to expect, right? They're getting a discounted shipping, which is lower than what I offer when I send out offers to people. So, hey, that's cool. I didn't know anything about it.
No, that's really good. So is that to say you haven't listed in a couple of weeks period, like even on eBay?
I have done some end and sell similar on eBay and some other stuff that I haven't put on Poshmark.
Oh yeah, hard goods or something.
Yeah. But I mean, I haven't been as active with listing on either platform, but I've still been doing some stuff daily manually on eBay. But yeah, Poshmark, I have not manually listed an item in almost 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the great things about Sidekick for sure is that it does keep you active, and if you set it up properly, it does do all of that stuff. Not like I said, not that we need to shill that particular program, but it's just that it takes all that away. You don't have to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was just surprised about about that shipping discount. I never knew it existed, so I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Right? So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's something that other people who watch this or listen to this or whatever wasn't aware of. So I don't know. I'd have to do some more research. Is it like once you get so many items per week? Is it list every day for a few days in a row, even if it's only one item? It might be good to figure out like what triggers that so you can strategize. And, if you don't have a lot of stuff and you're not listing every day, maybe it might be a good idea to like know what triggers that so you can plan so that you get that right.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was going to say before, I was considering doing this, and I think you probably wouldn't because you list only from your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've been thinking about uninstalling all of my apps and just keeping Sidekick and eBay because I still list from eBay, or at least I take photos and upload. But I'm kind of wondering if maybe that would be a better strategy for me, where I just maybe 3 times a day check in instead of just because I don't know when your phone's with you all the time and you get notifications. I get distracted a lot and we'll like mess around, and then before you know it, I've probably wasted more time than I've done good just looking at the apps and seeing what's available. Right.
Yeah.
I've been kind of considering that, but it'd probably bother me for a while till I got used to it because I'm just so used to jumping into the apps, and a lot of those programs are very app friendly. But it's been something I've been thinking about doing anyway.
Yeah, I would consider it under different circumstances. Like right now, I actually don't own a laptop or a computer that is my own personally. I have one at home here that is my work computer that is pretty limited as to what I really am allowed to do on that or should do on that. Like I would not want to do any eBay stuff or anything on that work computer because obviously that would just, that would cause an issue. We do have a spare laptop here, but it's a few years old. I use it basically just to I've got my that Munban printer set up, so print out labels or do basic email stuff. I'll use it for that, or if I need to make a basic Excel sheet just to log something or do something. But if I had my own, which is maybe on the radar for later this year, I don't know. If I had my own laptop or something that I could do that and easily I don't know. I use iPhone, so I'd either have to just upload all those to Google Drive or something like that, and then download them from OneDrive to the laptop, or I'd need to get an Apple laptop. I don't know. I'm conflicted because I actually really like PC.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really love Windows, but I also really love iPhones, and of course they're not really compatible. So
yeah, I was a huge Windows guy forever and it scared me to get this MacBook, and now I don't think I would want to go back, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Part of it is now we're going to get into the tech section of the program here. Part of it, I think, is that, and I know the last laptop or computer I had was a solid state drive as well, and it was very snappy and whatever. So Mac is great that way because solid state. It's just integrated so well. Everything I do on my phone, I could just put my phone down, jump on my MacBook, and just continue it. It just seems very good for that type of thing, right? If I take photos, they're already on my computer. If you set it up, you want it that way, right? Yeah. If you're working on a document and notes or whatever, you open it up, you're just right back in it. It's just nice. I like it. And you can do all that on PC. But Windows is definitely much more susceptible to things that are going to slow down the operating system and viruses and those type of things. I haven't ran into any of those issues on Mac, although you can. It's like anything. If you do stupid stuff, you're probably going to wind up with a problem. But it's been solid. I really love the price point's not great, but I love the MacBook otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've got some thinking to do on that one. I'm either going to get myself a laptop or a PS5, and I'm not sure which one yet.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't even touched my PS5 in forever. I feel so bad. We bought it. I've told this story a few times, but we bought it during like the second COVID shutdown,
Okay.
and they weren't available. And I bought it from some guy in a parking lot, and it was, it was in a brand new on open box. I think I paid $800. It's one of the ones that's got the disc drive in it. We played it a ton, but then this last year, not very much at all. Although the new Call of Duty, I'm a big fan of the Black Ops series, and this is going to be 6. So, I mean, I do have the remake, the last remake they made of World. What was it?
The Modern Warfare.
Yeah, whatever the last. I do have that, and I do the same thing every time. I play super hard for 3 months, and then I just let it go. But yeah.
See, I can't play another Call of Duty game because it will take over my life,
Yeah,
like the original Black Ops did back in the 360
I think that's
days.
the point of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually I sold a Call of Duty Black Ops 3 this week for PlayStation 3, maybe. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't know if somebody would still want to play online or if they just want to go through the zombies, but some of those old games still do hold a little bit of value. It wasn't a lot of money, like $15 or something, but
Yeah, I think like Black Ops 2 and 3 both are still pretty decent. I mean, most people are basically giving them away. So, I mean, if you pick them up for $2, split them for 15, 20, I mean, you can't complain. One to look out for is, I think it's Black Ops 1 and 2, or it could be 2 and 3, the combo pack, the 2 games in one. That can go for some good value. Like we're talking, 50 plus. Last time I checked anyway. You don't see it very often, but if you do see it where it's like the 2 games in one, yeah, it definitely, it's more valuable than the 2 games separate.
Would that be like PS3, Xbox 360 or older?
Yeah, it was that generation for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I have seen it, which is probably a good reason for that, right? The valuable games don't usually just come up in yard sales generally. Yeah. I mean, they do sometimes, but usually people know what they have to some extent.
Yeah. Best. While we're on the topic, the best case of somebody not knowing what they had was last summer when I picked up Wario World for GameCube for $2 at a church sale, and then sold it for $115 the week later on eBay. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, it sounds so bad. Sometimes when I think about how reselling works, it's like, oh, that doesn't sound very good. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm buying it from you, that's fine. But essentially you want like some kid's mom to be fed up with his garbage and getting rid of all this stuff. And then you're getting it cheap just because like it's super hard to find good deals on video games. Like even the casual person who owns them doesn't want to give them away for free. So you kind of got to look for that scenario where somebody's just trying to offload everything.
That's
which
right.
I just ran into, I guess. Last month I did a big bulk buy, and that's what it was. It was the kid's mom said, clean out the room. He didn't. So she said, like, everything in this room is for sale. That's what she did. She sold all the stuff. And I'm like, okay. I mean, someone's going to buy it. Might as well be me.
Well, exactly. That's just it. And that's why I don't feel bad, because it's like, hey, I paid your sticker price.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if the kid cared, he should have came home and packed it up. But but yeah, how'd your booth go this past weekend? I know you were doing some baseball and stuff, so maybe you weren't in there too much, but
no, I was there. And the booth did extremely poorly this weekend. This past weekend was just like super, super dead. I continue to make contacts and have people who are like, hey, I'm going to take some pictures if you don't mind, because like my brother's a collector and man, he's probably tons of stuff he'd like to get from you and whatever. So if nothing else, I think the booth is, it's beyond paid for at this point. We've made enough money from it, but like even when it's slow like that and I'm not really making any sales in a weekend, I think it's still worth it because it's creating a lot of opportunity. And, so I'm sitting there, I'm playing Switch, I'm having, a good time just doing my own thing anyway. And then someone comes along, maybe they buy something, maybe they don't. But it's not really a hardship for me. Like, I don't have to be there, but I also don't want to leave hundreds or potentially a couple $1,000s worth of video games just there. It would be easy enough for someone just to pocket, Majora's Mask for N64, like a $75-$80 game, shove that in your pocket, no one's looking. Like, I'm not saying it would happen, but it'd be easy for it to happen. So, but yeah, so the booth was slow this weekend, but it's all right. I mean, it's definitely still making some contacts. And since you mentioned softball, our softball season is officially over now. We did not win our playoff games. We had a lot of fun, but we lost. The first game of the best 2 out of 3, I think, was something like 18-12 or something, and then this last game was like 21-14 or something. So I mean, really, with lob ball, softball, I mean, that's actually pretty respectably close for a team that has only won one game all year. We at least didn't just hand it to them.
Do you think this has reignited your passion to want to play again next year, or do you think this is just something fun that's a one and done?
Oh, I love this game. Like I grew up playing baseball, and life kind of happened when I got into my 20s and I got away from playing softball and stuff. But no, this has reignited the passion. Like, I absolutely love it out there. And even in this last game, even though we were losing and stuff, the last inning, I made like 2 really nice plays at third base, pumped up, like I felt like a kid again. Like, it's one of those things where I'm going to do this every year and I'm going to play, and I don't care if we never win a game. I'll play with this team, and, I'm sure we'll have some changes over the years, but I will play with this team until I can't play anymore or the league folds or something. But hopefully, at 41 right now, hopefully I get another like 20 years or something that I can go out and play some ball. So
that's cool. I know I'd like to find something like that to do. I don't know if baseball is going to be, I love baseball and I love playing it. I can't run. My knees just like pop out of joint and like I'll fall on my face. Not a good look. Plus I don't, I'm not looking to hurt myself. Golf might be a good thing for me. I was invited this summer to play lawn bowling, which when the guy explained it to me, it sounded kind of fun actually. And I'm like, that sounds like I'm not quite 65, so I don't know if lawn bowling, I'm quite there yet.
Oh man, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. I already go play tonight. When we're recording this, it's a Wednesday. Every other Wednesday, me and my wife go play bingo it's like a fundraiser for like a local like community event. They do like this, it's called the Watermelon Festival in this little town. So we go and basically donate like $50 every other week to them. And it's fun, but I mean, by far, we are the youngest people there playing bingo for sure.
Oh yes. Yeah, I think the average age of your bingo hall contestants probably like 73. So you guys are definitely,
we're
like,
young couple.
Hey Mildred, look at the young people.
Yeah. I remember when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we kind of talked prior about sales and stuff. You said you had a sale of the week that was maybe accumulative.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was looking back over the last few sales I've made and stuff, and there was nothing really spectacular that was standing out, but I did sell 3 of the same thing within this last week and 5 overall in the last month. And it was these men's Patagonia R1 quarter zip, like light jackets.
Okay.
And I found 5 of them on the rack next to each other in my local thrift store. And well, actually the woman was putting them on the rack and I was like, hey, is that the Patagonia symbol? I know that. And she's like, yes, it is. And she's like, well, I'm not allowed to actually hand them to you, but here, I'm going to put them on the shelf if you want to come get them. So I walked over, grabbed them all. And there were 5 of them, like new, various colors. Obviously, somebody had 5 of these and it was just like, oh, wait, they don't fit or I don't like them, whatever. I don't know. And so I would have paid about $7.50 a piece after taxes. And each of them sold for between $30 and $45.
Oh,
so
that's solid.
I mean, you're what, $37.50 into 200 almost. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty nice, and they moved really quick too. So I'm going to say that was my sale of the week because 3 of them went within like 4 days.
No, it's amazing. Like custom embroidery, anything like that, or they're just
Nope. No, the only thing I had was like those R1 zips just have a little R down here on the sleeve. I don't know what it stands for. It's just whatever. That's what the model is of Patagonia. But yeah, but no like custom or like company names or anything like that. Just
That's wild. Like I don't know if I would spend I like Patagonia. I don't think I'd go buy one jacket because they're worth so much money, right?
Yeah.
So who buys 5 of them and then decide? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you gain a bunch of weight, or maybe it's a kid who was growing up, or I don't know what size these were. I guess would be the next problem. But it just seems crazy that you would do that.
Yeah, it's always great when I find it, because it's like it's one of those brands where, I mean, I think most people who are into clothing kind of just know this, but you know, being here in rural Nova Scotia, I don't see a lot of Patagonia. Like, we don't have like a Patagonia store nearby or anything like that. Not like I'd be going out and buying a $200 jacket for myself, but when I find it in the thrift store, it's like, oh man, I always think, should I be keeping this for myself? Because when else am I going to find like, you know, new or like new Patagonia stuff for under $10? It's never going to happen. But then common sense kicks in. I'm like, wait, I already have 3 times more clothes than I need. So I end up selling them and getting some money. But
for sure. Actually, that I know not super close to you, but I know downtown Harborfront, Halifax, right next to Alexander Keith's, there's a Patagonia store right there. And because we walked down through there, and I said to Amanda, like, oh, I really like is it chinchilla, or is that with the fuzzy kind of fleece?
Oh, the chinchilla. Yeah.
Chinchilla? Yeah, is that how you
So it's like a synthetic chinchilla.
Yeah. I'm like, I really like those. And she's like, well, then why don't you buy one for yourself? I'm like, well, let me show you why. We walked in there. It's like, I think it was the one I liked was like $280.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Not, not a chance.
I have found 2 of those so far, pre-owned, and you know, would have paid in that $7 to $8 range for them. One of them had like a really wild like Aztec pattern on it.
Yeah.
But it did have it had let go. The fabric had let go from like the bottom hem a little bit, so there's a little bit of a hole down there. Probably an easy fix, but even in that condition, it sold for $50 within like 2 hours of listing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to like try to get more, even though I probably could have, because I knew there was that hole there. And you know, obviously I mentioned all that in the listing, but it's like, I know I can go grab something with a big ass hole in it and still get $50 for it within hours. Like, that's the great thing about that brand.
Yeah, it really holds good value, even if the value is far from the original retail. I mean, the resale value is still really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
My sale of the week was same day pickup. I'm sure you probably can even guess what it's going to be. We went to go see Blink-182 at the Rogers Center. I wanted to say Skydome, and then I tried to correct with the Scotiabank. All those things are wrong.
Yeah.
Rogers Center. Outside of the event, before it even started, there were 2 merch areas. One is where the Jays have an outdoor merch store that you can go before the game. And we didn't realize it was going to be set up. And the last few times the last time for sure we went to a Blink concert, the posters sell out because they're limited to like 300 or 400. I'd have to look at the number on it, but I think it's like 380 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we go in there, they've got a stack of them. Amanda grabs one, and then as she's grabbing one, I'm like, I think I'm going to grab one for myself. She's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just going to like list it right now on eBay, because if not, you know, they're going to be gone. And, you know, I went back to go grab a second one before we even checked out, and the stack they had in that section was already gone. And that was within like 5 minutes of me grabbing the first one, us looking at sweaters and T-shirts. So we get out of there. I paid for it. It was $75. I just unroll it. I get Amanda to take a picture of it. She's holding it, posted it on eBay. We were actually staying downtown Toronto, so we just walked back to our hotel because we weren't even in the show yet. We put them in our hotel, walked back, didn't miss anything. On the walk back, I think just as the first band was going on, sold right away, $250. So that pretty much paid for the other poster, probably a couple of drinks. The tickets were cheap to begin with. Now, that being said, I probably could have bought a whole stack of them. I don't really like the idea of doing that, trying to like completely like just be a jerk about it. I think one extra one to me, even though it is like I don't know. It seems like a little bit of a skeezy thing to do to some extent because it's very limited at the event. But I've been on the other side of that. Last time we went to see them, I wound up buying one for $200 on Facebook Marketplace. We wound up driving to somebody's like high-rise building, and they came down and gave it to us. So I've been on the other side of that where I've paid up, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It was still a good sale. I mean, you can't really get anything better than a couple, not even an hour, I don't think, and the thing sold for $250.
Yeah, no, I mean that's such a limited edition thing. I think that's completely fine. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with even grabbing a handful of them. It's like, now if you went in there, I would say it wouldn't be fair because I mean, if they're like $75 a piece, obviously, it's pretty expensive. If you were the kind of person that just had like enough money already that you could go in there and buy like 100 of them or something and put that kind of money up front, I mean, obviously that's taking it out of kids' hands and stuff, and then you're just going to make tens of thousands of dollars off of that. That's probably a little scummy. But I mean, if we're talking like, because that's almost like corporate gouging at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're just some guy who's like, hey, you know what, I'm going to get a couple extra of these, you're putting up your money up front. I mean, it's an investment, but it is risky because it's a flash in the pan, right? Like,
yep.
That's something that's going to have that real strong desire and attention, but only for a limited amount of time.
Yes.
3 months down the road, does anybody care? Maybe, but not nearly as much as they did that first few days, right?
Yeah, and they've been doing this for a long time. Like you can go back to about, I don't know, the late 2000s anyway, and Blink was doing these limited posters. And we've got one from every show we've ever been to where they've done it. And I think that's the type of people who want them, right? Now, I did the same thing. So a couple days later, we went to go see Slipknot, which are completely different bands. It's like crazy.
That's more my style.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Also, they only played, they're like, if you're a casual fan, this isn't for you. They just played 99 and older. So basically the first album is a blast. But same thing, I spent $70 on a poster there. Listed it for a little less because typically when you looked at their posters, they didn't sell. They sold like at $205. I listed mine for $240. I've had two offers. One was for $150, and the other one I think was for like $105, but it hasn't sold. So it doesn't have. It does. I think it will eventually sell, but it doesn't have that instant, sale, right? Like it's not quite as collectible.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Slipknot is that they are obviously tailored to a smaller audience than Blink.
Yeah.
But also I think the typical Slipknot fan is less likely to need a poster.
Yeah, probably.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. No offense to the Blink fans out there, and I'm not, but I think in my mind, just looking at the demographics, you're less likely to be wanting to spend $200 on a Slipknot poster than you are on a Blink poster.
Yeah, because
I think that's fair. I could be way off.
I don't think so, because I would say like Blink-182 and that type of thing is very pop culture-y,
right,
collectible, and like there's all these this imagery that goes along with it. They've had a history of using like that rabbit in different like ways and whatever. Where Slipknot has just had a history of being like an aggressive dark band that's kind of creepy and is going to melt your face off when you go see them.
That's right.
Yeah. Still cool.
My kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I like both. Worst case scenario for me, I've got a Slipknot poster. I'm not going to let it go cheap. And if it doesn't sell 6 months from now, maybe I'll put it in a frame, hang it up, leave it online, or maybe price it even higher because it's in a frame and hang it up somewhere. I don't know. Yeah. But either way, I mean, the first poster certainly paid for the second one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not too many other scenarios where I can think of things like that I do besides stadium giveaways. Like all the time will go and get a bobblehead, keep one, sell one. I mean, the only difference is you have to be there, but they're still limited. But they're limited to like, 10,000 people, not 300 or 400 people, right?
Yeah. I've had some good luck with selling Cineplex, like limited edition stuff for movies, like popcorn buckets or figurines or things like that, or like the specialty cups and stuff. with like the cup toppers. Like I sold some of the Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem stuff from last year. Definitely made, I mean, it's not like I was getting rich off of it, but I made enough to pay my own way to the movie and whatever I wanted to keep, and a few extra bucks in my pocket. And then I bought some of the, was it King Kong versus Godzilla or whatever that movie was earlier this year. They had some custom popcorn buckets, and so I bought 3 of them for $8 a piece. And I sold one for 40, and then I think another one for about 30. And then I do still have one listed. I mean, if it never sells, it never sells. I'm already in the good. And, that paid for whatever movie it was that I went to see that night. I don't even know. But usually I'll do that. I'll be like, okay, well, I'm here. What do they have? Because I don't go to the movies that often because it's just stupid expensive. But I'll look and be like, is there anything here I think I can sell that pays for tonight?
Actually, so I actually just heard this thing on the radio today, and they had said that they were talking about popcorn buckets actually, and they were saying that the Dune popcorn bucket apparently looked like a sex toy in some way. It was like it was a snake or like that, whatever it was, right?
Oh, really?
And they were saying they're anticipating, and there's been imagery of the Beetlejuice one is also going to be a snake like that. And it's kind of controversial because the Dune one was like, I guess I've never looked at it. If I can find a picture of it, I'll throw up on screen. Apparently it looks very sexual in some way.
Okay.
The movie company is trying to use the success from that one, or sort of like the hype from that one, to do the same thing with the Beetlejuice one. Either way, I'm excited to see the new Beetlejuice, but
yeah.
That would be a good one, I would think, because that's definitely iconic. That Beetlejuice brand is gonna you could resell a bucket like that. It probably will sell for like crazy money once you get your hands on one.
Oh, definitely, and I definitely want to get one. Like, we have a little bit like a movie store kind of in our basement here. There's like hundreds of movies on shelves, and we made our own little Blockbuster, and we have some of this stuff for ourselves. So I definitely want one of these Beetlejuice ones for us because we're both like big Beetlejuice fans, and just the fact they're even making a second one after this much time still blows my mind. So I don't want to go all fanboy on it, but we definitely want one for ourselves. But yeah, I can imagine that they are going to be collectible. And it's hilarious because we were telling that story about how it's kind of sexual, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the common denominator here? But yeah, it's the sandworms, those big sandworms. And it's like, yep. I can see that. I can see that. But when you were saying it, I saw, man, I don't know. A lot of times what will happen is things will pop in my head and I'll be like, wait, did I see that? Or, was that some fleeting thing that I saw in like a reel or something? Because we consume so much content these days in short form that I actually can't confirm that I did see this. But I feel like I did recently see something about the new Alien Romulus movie as well, where their popcorn bucket, because of like the shape of the alien's head and stuff, very, very phallic, kind of looked a little bit inappropriate as well. So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Like there's obviously a running theme on popcorn buckets.
Yeah, for sure. I think there is. I know the other theme park ones can also be like good money too, right?
Okay.
I know I've never done this, but I see them on like ADH Dave or whatever. I think that's what he still goes by, right?
Yeah.
He was doing that at Disney, getting like limited edition Disney buckets and stuff like that, which I've seen them there. And I know the last time we went, I kind of was comping some as we walked by different stands just to see what they were worth. I didn't have room to like bring a popcorn bucket home with me unless I held it in my hand, on the flight home or something. But I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. It would be similar to your idea of the movie, right? If you went to the theme park, what could you pick up there to like pay for your trip or pay for your meal? Like just kind of an interesting mindset when you walk into some place that's already expensive. It's like, how do I get some of my money back?
Exactly. And that's really my angle when I go into those places. But, and I don't feel bad about it. I mean, they don't care. They're selling their merchandise. They're getting their sticker price. Who cares what happens after that?
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So let's jump back to the flea market thing for a minute. I know for myself with the antique booth, I have noticed an increase monthly anyway. So like I'm going in the right direction. It's not like I'm blowing the doors off of it and it's like, oh, I'm like almost where I want to be. But do you feel like, past what you've already committed, do you feel like you're going to keep doing it, or is this just sort of something you're going to look at doing occasionally?
Well, most likely it's going to wrap up for the year in October. So I feel like it's probably worth finishing out the year and doing like paying for the month of September and getting those, 4 more weekends or whatever. If nothing else, just for making those contacts, like I say. As far as coming back next year and setting up and doing it all again, I'm really not sure. I think that I'm going to need to see some more good sales and success in this next month before I'd want to come back and commit my time, because it does take time on my weekends. And sure, I'm just kind of chilling, playing Nintendo Switch and enjoying myself anyway. But I could be doing other things, either at home or out thrifting or going to yard sales or doing things. And so it's a little bit of lost opportunity. But if it's making up for it, that it leads to me making some good money, then yeah. I guess to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know. As it stands right now, I'll probably give it a shot until the end of September, but I really don't know where it's going to go from there.
It makes sense. I don't know that I'd want to have to go sit there on the weekend, because for me, so this week, so today is the day that I normally go to my booth. I spend an hour or less restocking, rearranging, putting things back where they belong. Things tend to not, when I go there are certain things that aren't where I put them. It's just because people have had them in their hands and dropped them. Sometimes you find stuff that doesn't even belong in your booth. But even the prep for that, normally I'm better at it the day before. I'm usually spend like 2 or 3 hours prepping stuff. Because I didn't source a lot last week and we were away in the weekend and I didn't source, I kind of was like just looking for stuff around my house or things that I wanted to delist from eBay. So I only spent like an hour this morning at home pricing stuff that I had, and an hour or less there. So 2 hours. And now the rest of the week, I won't even think about it until I get a slip. For me, I just get an email that says like, update of what sold this past week. I know other people have, a couple of my buddies have like an app on their phone and it shows like live if they sell something, sort of like reselling. But this particular guy doesn't have all that fancy stuff. And I don't care one way or the other. I mean, I care if the stuff sells, but I don't need to see it when it's sold right now. Right.
Right. I mean, there's a chance that I've gotten to know the guy in the booth next to us really well over these few weeks. And, if I knew that he was going to be there, and that he personally would like kind of keep an eye on my booth and stuff, just because he's got some more like expensive stuff too, and some, more collectible kind of stuff. And like, if I knew that there was one good set of eyes that was for sure going to be there, then I probably wouldn't feel so awkward about just leaving it unattended. But again, it would be such a blow. Not necessarily because I'd be like, oh my God, my life is over. I've lost out on, a couple $100 worth of video games or something. It's not like that would change my life too much, but I think it would just be like a mental blow. If I realized like someone had just taken a bin of games that was worth $500, like I would just feel like, wow, I need to just rage quit everything right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. And there's not like, there's a lot of opportunity you don't have like, I know where you are is rural anyway, but you don't have like the opportunity to be in a booth. Where's the closest one similar to like what I'm doing? How far away would that be from
you? Geez, I don't even know. I have no idea.
It's not available, right?
Yeah. I mean, probably an hour away in one of the larger communities, but I don't know that for sure. So yeah, I wouldn't even want to make that trip.
All right. Well, let's talk just briefly before we wrap it up. So I talked to a few different people about Facebook Marketplace recently. I haven't actively been listing a ton on it, but I have noticed, I guess the fact that I'm not listing a whole lot of new things on there would probably indicate why I'm not selling a lot on there, but I've just not had great luck with it. I don't know if it just seemed to be over the summer. I've had less luck. And then when I do list stuff, it seems to be people are way too far away. You know, back in the day, I think when you could sell in just like your local group, seemed a lot more straightforward to now where everything's on actual marketplace. It seems like it's way too broad. Have you been having success on marketplace, or have you sort of abandoned selling on there?
No, I try to put, you know, especially where I got like a lot of video game stuff, I try to make sure that's all on marketplace, but I've definitely joined some local groups as well, like some buy and sell groups or flea market groups or whatever else, and try to get those listings in all those groups as well. Because like you say with marketplace, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you as the person going in and looking on marketplace, you need to set your location and your range of how far you want to be searching for things.
Yeah.
So especially where I am, like if you imagine where St. John, New Brunswick is on the very south side of New Brunswick, you know, I'm right across the Bay of Fundy. So like a lot of people are messaging me from St. John, which is like a 3-hour ferry ride away, you know, or a 6-hour drive. And they're like, oh, hey, yeah, like, would you deliver to such and such park? I'm like, I have no idea where that is. Where are you? Oh, I'm in St. John. I'm like, okay, see, I'm like on the other side of the ferry away from you. Like, I'm not in your province, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I'm seeing this. So like you get a lot of that. And so it's a little bit frustrating and annoying. But I think with the video game stuff, I've done really well with marketplace there because I've gotten some good repeat buyers. And then also some guys, actually one from my softball team, but then a couple of people who've bought stuff from me before and then told friends about it or something. And they're contacting me and saying, hey, you know, Dave got some N64 games from you last month. And he said you might have some Super Nintendo stuff. Can you send me a list? And it's worked out well that way, just for making contacts.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't think the type of things I list on there, not necessarily, I guess that's not really true. A lot of times it's like golf stuff that I try to offload there. I don't love shipping. It's weird. I don't mind shipping a TV, which is heavy and awkward, but I don't like shipping a golf club. I don't know why. Shouldn't be that big of a deal, but for whatever reason, I'm like, just don't like it. But anyway, regardless, I don't know. I'm typically, those are the type of things I'm throwing on marketplaces, like sporting goods, sometimes heavier, bigger items, that sort of thing. I don't know. I guess I just haven't had a lot of success on it recently. But like I said, when I think about it, really, I haven't listed a ton on there recently either. So,
yeah, true. Well, that's fair. All right, everybody. Thanks very much for watching this episode. We had Marley there with us at the beginning. She obviously took off early. Let us know down below if you've got kitties who help you with all of your cat administrative assistant needs. In any case, again, appreciate you guys watching, following along. If you got any questions or anything, let us know down below, and we'll see you in the next one.